My name is Laura Alfers. I work for an organization called WeGo, which stands for Women in Informal Employment, Globalizing and Organizing, which is a policy action research network, global, made up of researchers and activists, as well as grassroots organizations of informal workers. And we work in about 40 countries around the world. I am the acting director of the social protection program. So I work generally on social protection issues, but my background has always been in health and access to health services and access to health protections for informal workers. I feel like you're constantly working in this workshop and having to use your brain, which makes it a lot harder. But I think it's a fantastic process, and it's almost as if the result at the end doesn't matter so much as the interactions that are happening within the workshop, the fact that we're really interacting with people who have a lot of experiences to share. And so whatever the book looks like in the end, I think the workshop's been really worthwhile because of those interactions and discussions. I mean, the way it engenders discussion is quite remarkable, I think. Action Aid India work is really interesting. They've done a sort of budget analysis at national level. One of the big arguments about extending social protection to informal workers is that often informal workers don't contribute to national tax systems. So therefore, how do you finance social protection for them? And often the arguments are made, well, we cannot afford, the state cannot afford this. And what they've done is done a budget analysis which shows at both the national and the provincial levels in India how much fiscal space there actually is to still fund social protection schemes, money that could be made available. So it makes the argument that we can't afford this much less effective, I think. And I think those kind of tools, those kind of costing and budget analysis tools are quite technical, but they can be really useful. And I think at WeGo, we've tried to use them at the local government level to show where there's fiscal space for spending on informal workers. And I think it's really interesting to see this applied to the national level social protection. So I think that's something I'm taking away, definitely. I think that the other thing that I know we're trying to advocate for is the relationship between the level of urban policy and national social protection systems. A lot of informal workers work in urban public spaces. A lot of the risks that are created in their working lives are created by the urban environment in which they work in. And social protection is meant to protect workers against risk. So there's a relationship between the urban level of policy and the national level of social protection. And I think because of the divisions, the way which we work in our disciplines, social protection people don't think about urban policies, and urban policies people don't think about social protection. And I think trying to bring those closer together, and I'm hoping that a small bit of that might come through in the book. Yeah.